Special Weather News Bulletin, September 16, 2025. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. You are watching our Special Weather News Bulletin tonight, Wednesday, September 17, 2025. It is a pleasure to be with you again in this familiar time slot. In this broadcast, we bring you the very latest updates on a weather system that is developing with complex dynamics along the eastern seaboard of the United States. Stretching from North Carolina all the way north to Virginia, Maryland, Delaware, and New Jersey. Although it has not been given an official name, this system is already producing winds, rainfall, and impacts comparable to a full-fledged tropical storm. This is the top story in our weather coverage tonight. In addition, we will also update you on tropical disturbances currently active in the Caribbean, as well as the latest weather trends in Canada, where the inland regions are enduring intense heat, while coastal areas are preparing for a refreshing push of cool oceanic air. Major impacts in the eastern United States. First, let us turn to the troubling developments across the U.S. East Coast. Tonight, a strong tropical depression-like system, bearing all the hallmarks of a tropical storm, is approaching the shoreline and directly affecting millions of residents. For several days, meteorologists have been monitoring the formation and intensification of this low-pressure system off the coast of North Carolina. Its impacts are now clearly visible. In the Outer Banks, an area frequently battered by large waves and high winds, heavy rainfall has been falling for hours, accompanied by gusts exceeding 40 miles per hour, 65 km per hour. And in some locations, winds have reached nearly 50 miles per hour, 80 km per hour. Coastal highways are experiencing overwash, while beaches, seawalls, and homes near the shoreline are taking direct hits from pounding waves, causing severe erosion and sand displacement. Moving northward, Virginia's Tidewater region is also bearing the brunt of this system. Major cities such as Norfolk, Virginia Beach, and Hampton Roads have reported relentless squalls and torrential downpours. Local meteorological authorities have issued alerts for the possible development of waterspouts and small tornadoes tonight, a typical risk when tropical systems skirt land. These hazards are especially likely along coastal transition zones where strong convective bands are forming. In Maryland and Delaware, heavy rain began earlier this afternoon and is expected to intensify overnight. Low-lying areas, particularly near rivers that flow into the Atlantic, are already showing signs of flooding. Residents in Ocean City, Salisbury, and surrounding communities have been urged to stay off the roads tonight, as rainfall totals may exceed 6 inches, 150 millimeters, with some stationary rain bands potentially producing over 8 inches, 200 millimeters, within just a few hours. Farther north, the system is on track toward New Jersey. The coastal stretch from Atlantic City through Stone Harbor and Cape May, and up toward the shoreline near Philadelphia, lies within the direct impact zone. In addition to heavy rain and strong winds, storm surge and coastal overwash are emerging as serious concerns. As powerful onshore winds drive seawater inland, flooding may overwhelm dunes, seawalls, coastal roads, and even residential neighborhoods in low-lying areas. Communities in New Jersey, long accustomed to nuisance flooding during strong nor'easters, are now facing a heightened threat from this tropical system. A storm without a name, but with real impacts. One critical point must be emphasized. Although this system has not been officially named and is not classified on paper as a tropical storm, its real-world impacts are essentially the same, with gusts ranging from 40 to 50 miles per hour, 65–80 kilometers per hour. Torrential rainfall, the risk of tornadoes, and storm surge flooding. This system is fully capable of causing widespread disruption and damage. Residents in the affected areas must not let the absence of a formal name diminish their sense of urgency. Naming conventions are determined by international meteorological authorities, but the hazards on the ground speak for themselves. Inland impacts, flooding and landslide risks. While coastal communities endure wind and surge, inland regions are not spared. Heavy rainfall has spread into Washington, D.C., Richmond, Fairfax, Harrisonburg, and into the mountains of Virginia and Maryland, with the area's steep slopes, Fast-flowing rivers and saturated soils, flash flooding and localized landslides are possible tonight. Universities such as William and Mary and George Mason have already issued advisories urging students to limit travel this evening and tomorrow morning. According to forecasts, the system will continue moving northward overnight into Wednesday, September 17. Its influence will extend into Delaware Bay, and even parts of Long Island. New York may experience gusty winds and heavy rainfall. As it pushes inland, the system is expected to weaken gradually, with sustained winds dropping to around 30 to 35 miles per hour, 50–60 kilometers per hour. Nevertheless, rough seas, elevated tides, and persistent onshore flow will keep the risk of coastal flooding and erosion alive throughout Wednesday. The Caribbean and Atlantic, more disturbances developing. Beyond the U.S. mainland, tropical activity remains busy in the Caribbean and Atlantic basin. A tropical disturbance near the Cayman Islands, Cuba, and South Florida has already brought days of heavy thunderstorms. Some regions in Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Panama, and the southern Dominican Republic are contending with flash flooding and landslide risks. Fortunately, forecast models suggest that its chances of rapidly organizing into a tropical storm or hurricane over the next several days remain low. Farther east in the central Atlantic, however, a tropical wave is drawing closer attention. International forecasters believe it could soon strengthen into a tropical storm and potentially intensify into a major hurricane as it tracks northwestward. The most likely scenario currently points it toward Bermuda. Still, as with many early-stage systems, the path remains uncertain. A storm that develops quickly tends to be steered out to sea by upper-level winds, sparing the mainland. By contrast, a slower developing system could drift farther west, edging closer to the Caribbean and possibly the U.S. East Coast. This will be a critical system to watch closely in the coming days. Canada, heat and cool air collide. Turning north to Canada, the weather picture is strikingly different. Inland areas of British Columbia, particularly enclosed valleys such as Osoyoos, saw daytime highs reach 86 degrees Fahrenheit, 30 degrees Celsius, today, unusually hot for mid-September. Residents report persistent stuffy, stagnant conditions with little wind relief. By contrast, coastal zones such as Vancouver and the lower mainland have already begun to feel the moderating effects of southerly breezes. Forecasts indicate that by tomorrow, a cold front from the Pacific will move ashore, ushering in cooler, fresher air. Coastal temperatures are expected to fall noticeably, bringing more comfortable conditions. Still, this cooling will not spread evenly. Inland heat is expected to persist for several more days until the cooler air mass penetrates further east by the weekend. Summary. To recap tonight's top stories. An unnamed tropical system is battering the U.S. East Coast from North Carolina to New Jersey with winds up to 50 miles per hour. Torrential rain, coastal flooding, and tornado risks. In the Caribbean and Atlantic, tropical disturbances are active, with one wave showing potential to intensify into a powerful hurricane heading toward Bermuda. In Canada, coastal British Columbia is cooling under a new front, while inland regions remain under unseasonable heat. We will continue to monitor all developments and keep you updated in our upcoming broadcasts. Thank you for watching this special edition of our Weather News Bulletin. We wish you a safe and peaceful evening.